Good afternoon, Motor Valley. Here we go with a further broadcasting from the very heart of the land of engines. Before we start with this virtual tour, I have to tell you that this is going to be very different from the rest of videos you have watched. Please remember that you can find all these clips on motorvalleyfest.it. And for our friends from abroad, please remember.
So for all our friends from all around the world, remember that we are publishing these videos with the English translations in a few days. Allora, come avete visto, si parla
So,
di
as you have seen, we are going to be talking about Maserati. Actually, this is not a museum. We are not going to see cars from the past. We are going to see cars of the present and of the future. Our guide for today is Federico Landini, the responsible for the development of MC20, one of the most desired cars of this year. Thank you, Lorenzo, and thanks for this invitation. We are here in the very heart of the Innovation Lab of Maserati. This is the most important area of the Innovation Lab of Maserati. This is the simulators area. Here you can find all the labs, all the simulators. On the right, you have the Skylab and Harmony Light. In this simulator, we try to reproduce the light conditions at every latitude worldwide, at every time of the day, so to assess the interaction between man and machine. On the other side here we have other labs like the 3D scan in which our goal is to scan all the components, all the systems we have to implement in the car, and also the acoustic and sound labs in which we try to use all the sounds, both the internal and external sounds of the vehicle. Some of these labs you are talking about can be appreciated in a clip we have already published on the website motorvalleyfest.it. In these clips you can have some clues of this beautiful device, of this beautiful lab in which you can simulate lights. But I also know that you are going to show us a very peculiar, a very special place, which has become the real protagonist of the Innovation Lab. Yes, in fact, we are now approaching the virtual drive simulator area. The drive simulator is becoming more and more important when it comes to develop cars because it gives you the possibility to interact with the car in a very fast way. You can bring changes in real time. In fact, in the past, when you did physical test drive, you needed a couple of days to change the setup. Now, with this virtual drive simulator, you can change the setup in a few hours. I'm really excited because we are entering the drive simulator area. Yes, in fact, we are right inside at the moment. On the right, you can see the static simulator. For us, this static simulator is still very important because by this simulator we can develop all the driving auxiliary systems of the car. I would like to greet all the I would like to say hello to all the technicians who are working today on Sunday in the Innovation Lab. Here you can find the static simulator. As I told you before, we use this static simulator to test all the driving auxiliary systems, plus a range of initial setups from the point of view of handling of the car. On the other side, you have the very dynamic simulator of our innovation lab. This is currently the most advanced in Europe and worldwide as well. And it is now working because today, even if it is Sunday, we are making some tests and we are trying some setups. As it is one of the most, actually the most advanced in Europe, it must have some distinguishing characteristics. Why don't you tell us about them? Yes, this simulator moves on a base made of 6 actuators. These 6 actuators move the cockpit. The cockpit is the place in which the driver sits. So these 6 actuators move in a high frequency. They have 6 6 degrees of freedom, and they move in a high frequency with slight changes in position, while the rest of the base is moved by 3 actuators that work in low frequency with bigger changes of positions. This is the big novelty of this simulator because it manages to combine tests both in high frequency and in low frequency. Thanks to this combination, we can cover the whole development of the car, from the handling to the high aerodynamics, and from the handling to the daily drive in town and comfort. A question for you. You are the responsible of development of MC20. We are now seeing the MC20 car simulation. Is that right? Yes, we are now testing in the simulator the the aerodynamic behavior of the MC20. We are trying some tires and shock absorbers setups. On the top, on the right, in this screen, you can see what the driver sees. On the left, you can see in real time all the telemetry we are recording. Telemetry provides us with all the information, and this is one of the best telemetries you can find in race cars. We can access all information in real time, all information regarding what happens inside the car. Obviously, a virtual car. How can you virtually know the behavior of a car on the road? So what is the starting point of your job? Okay, development starts when there is nothing physical. We just have a mathematical model we call virtual car. This mathematical model introduces all the components of the car in a single mathematical model simulating the behavior of the car. This mathematical model is inside these servers. And at the beginning, you start by testing the car without any correlation. The only correlation you have is the historical correlation. Then, step by step, you start to receive some physical testing objects. Well, you tried those physical components so to have a direct feedback one-on-one compared to the virtual behavior. So you compare the physical and the virtual behavior. And if there is any divergence, you tune the two behaviors, the physical and the virtual. Once you gain the full correlation, we can reproduce very fast interactions. Now we are going to ask Andrea to change a setup. If he had been on the racetrack, he would have asked for a different car, or he would have needed 2 days of work to change the tires or to change the setup of the shock absorbers. That's why I'm telling you that this system gives you the possibility of saving time. We are here with Andrea Bertolini. He won more than once the World Championship with the FIA GT MC12, and he is our tester both for the racetrack and for the Innovation Lab. So you can change car also. You can try an MC20, then you can change and try a Levante or other cars. Obviously, you have to remember, you have to bear in mind that the cockpit is always the same. Obviously, if we had more time available, we could also change the cockpit. So if we want to use the Levante car, we could also change and get the Levante cockpit. The only thing you can change right now is the driving position, so you can actually raise the seat. So we are now going to change the setup for Andrea. By changing the setup, you change some parameters. Yes, now we are going to change the setup of the tires and the setup of the shock absorbers. So the technicians are going to communicate to Andrea that some parameters are going to change, and Andrea will assess these changes. Practically speaking, and speaking about time, what are the advantages of a system like this? The technicians are now communicating to Andrea the changes in setups they are going to make. So I was asking, you reduce the development time by using this system. Yes, you're right, but apart from that, you also reduce money because time is money. And furthermore, you also increase the number of interactions. Let's suppose that we don't want to reduce time, rather we want to increase, to improve the result. Well, by doing so, we can try more configurations, more setups at the same time. And as we are becoming better and better when using these tools, we can also reduce the time. But the first goal we had was not reducing time or cost, it was increasing the number of interactions and having a better result. Obviously, if you gain time and money, you are more than happy, but I repeat, reducing time and money is not the primary goal. You told me that this simulator is manufactured by another company, but it was fine-tuned according to your requirements and your needs. Yes, indeed. The simulator is a product of another company, a leading company worldwide. But this simulator was customized according to our requests and needs. As I was saying, the double range of actuators, high frequency and low frequency, and also the simulator of the pedal fee, like the feeling that is reproduced on the brake pedal. Well, all these things are specific and customized. We also have the seat and the seat belts. On one hand, when you brake, the seat inflates, and when you brake, the seat belts start to pull and to tighten, so to simulate the acceleration and the deceleration. So by pulling the seat belts and by inflating the seats, you simulate the acceleration and deceleration. Well, these characteristics are specific of this customization of the simulator. Well, it's super good. This is incredible because you are reproducing the feelings, the driving feelings you have while you drive on the road or on the track. So Andrea is ready to have us and to explain us the different setups we have made before. Let's approach the simulator. Let's get inside this room. It is a very delicate and sophisticated device. Now, a technician is going to bring a ladder close to the simulator so that Andrea can come down. Now the platform is ready to simulate. The simulator is ready to go. So it is in a raised position, in a high position. But now we are going to bring the simulator to the parking position. You see that actuators are lowering, are going down. And so to allow Andrea to come down, we are going to give him a ladder. You are going to realize now that the room is very big, and the simulator, when operating, is more than 2 meters high. No one can be inside while the simulator is working because the simulator swings all the time, so the danger is visible. Now the simulator is safe, it is off, and so everyone can get inside. When did you start to use this simulator? Well, we finished with the installation last year in summer. Before last summer, we had been working on the simulator with the static simulator with all the related upgrades. In fact, in the static simulator as well, we rely on a steering simulator, which is unique. So when we finished to upgrade the static simulator, we switched to the dynamic simulator. Well, I'm now looking at it from very, very close, and I see that these actuators are very long. Yes, bear in mind that this plate is very smooth. You cannot walk on this plate. And this plate has to be as smooth and as flat as possible, so to reduce the friction to zero. When the simulator works, it is raised on air cushion so that actuators can work at the top of their strength and at very high speed because they don't have any friction. So this is the very heart of the simulator, and this is the most important piece, the most important union. So this plate is crucial. Try to picture that when swinging, the simulator can reach this position in which I'm now. Okay, so Andrea, please come down and hi, how are you?
Andrea, piacere, grazie.
I
Ti
give you
lascio
the
il
mic.
microfono.
Hi, Andrea. It's Sunday and you're here testing the simulator, so we have never stopped during this
No,
lockdown.
assolutamente
No,
non
we
ci
have
siamo
never
mai
stopped.
fermati. Stiamo cercando
And
anche
we
di
are trying to
recuperare un
recover.
periodo che comunque, visto il decreto, eravamo obbligati
We are trying to
a
do
rimanere a
all the work
casa.
we needed to
Adesso,
do during the
grazie a questi
lockdown, but we
strumenti
couldn't.
che
And
credo
thanks to these
Federico
tools, thanks to
abbia
these devices,
spiegato,
Federico
riusciamo davvero
has
a
just told
lavorare
you
molto
about, we
bene,
can really work
riusciamo davvero a fare
efficiently and we
tantissime prove
can
in una
make
giornata
several
e
tests
quindi non perdiamo
every
tempo,
day.
lavoriamo
So
anche
we
di
don't
domenica e
lose
siamo
time. We
davvero
work on
super
Sunday as well.
motivati
We
in
are
Maserati.
very
Ci
motivated.
aspetta un
We are
prodotto
really pushing on
importante,
these because
grandicente,
a very
stiamo
big product is
lavorando
waiting for us,
davvero
the
sempre, come
MC20.
vi
We are working
dimostriamo anche
all
oggi,
the
siamo qua.
time. As you see, today is Sunday and we are here. Andrea, I was explaining Lorenzo something. I told him that we are doing all these to increase the number of interactions and to improve the results. You have been testing with us for more than 20 years. So what has changed compared to the period in which you had to go to the racetrack to test the vehicles? Because you know, when you go to the racetrack,
Questo
you
è
can only
proprio il
test two of the
vantaggio.
20 setups.
Oltre,
Here you can test
come vi
everything.
ricordava, aveva
Yes,
spiegato
this is a big
Federico prima,
advantage.
non è
And as
tanto una
Federico has
questione di
told you,
tempo, ma è
this
la
is not just a
qualità
matter of
che
time. We
andiamo a
also increase
migliorare.
quality.
Nel passato, quando uscivamo con
In the
i
past,
primi prototipi,
we
dovevamo
launched the
in sala
first
solo di setup,
prototypes.
casomai
And
provare una
every time we had
ventina
a
di setup
prototype,
che
we had
avevamo
to test
concordato con gli
about 20
ingegneri. Oggi abbiamo la
setups with the
fortuna che
engineers.
questi 20
Today,
setup,
thanks to
sto
this
parlando di
system,
numeri, 20
we
setup li
can
proviamo
test
al
20
simulatore
setups
e poi
on the simulator
selezioniamo
and
i
then we
migliori due
select
o tre che
the
poi li
two
andiamo a
or three
provare in fisico
setups,
sulla
maybe the best
vettura.
ones,
Oggi è
and we
domenica,
try them
oggi stiamo
physically
provando
on
dei
the car.
setup,
Today is
abbiamo
Sunday, we are
individuato il nostro
testing
setup che
several
viene
setups.
chiamato di
We have already
riferimento.
detected the reference
Domani
setup, so the
mattina
one we want to
saremo a
try
fare una
tomorrow in the morning,
verifica sulla vettura
on the
dei
racetrack.
migliori
That's why
setup che
tomorrow
oggi
we are
abbiamo
going to try
selezionato.
only
Questo è
the
il grande
few we have
vantaggio.
selected today.
In più
This is
sono
the
tutte
real
le
big
prove che noi
advantage.
definiamo
And
back
then
to
we also
back.
have the
Questo
back-to-back
è
tests.
davvero un
This is a
confronto
real
diretto perché
good interaction.
se
This is a
noi
real
nella
good,
stessa
a really
giornata
good
abbiamo la
comparison.
possibilità di provare
And the reason is
3-4
that
varianti
if we
di
can
mappe
try
motore o mappe
in one
aerodinamiche,
day
cose che poi
3 or 4
realtà,
engine
diciamo, la
mappings,
vettura andare a cambiare a livello
and we can
aerodinamico o
also
un motore
change some
addirittura,
aerodynamic
chiaramente
setting.
andiamo a perdere una
Well,
giornata,
this is
perdere, cioè
feasible here,
impieghiamo una
but it is not
giornata a
feasible
sostituire il
on the
motore. Quindi la
racetrack because
condizione di
it takes
confronto
1 or 2 days
azienda, in questo
to
caso della
change the
pista, giorno
aerodynamic configuration
successivo,
or to change the
sicuramente
engine
non è
mapping.
ideale o perlomeno la stessa del giorno
So this
precedente.
place
Invece
gives you the
qua
possibility
con un
to
click
do
riusciamo
everything
davvero a fare
by
un confronto
clicking on
diretto,
a button.
selezionare le
You can
migliori e
select the
andarle a
best setups
verificare
and you
in
can
fisico con la vettura.
check them
E
the
la
day
cosa
after on the
incredibile
car.
davvero in questi anni, ma soprattutto con questo strumento che abbiamo oggi qua in
And I
Maserati,
think that
è il livello
we
di
have a very high
correlazione.
degree of
Siamo davvero a
correlation
un
thanks to
livello
this
altissimo e
device.
tutte le volte è
Every day we
incredibile
have
che io
a
domani
very
mattina
high degree
sarò
of
seduto in
correlation.
vettura
Tomorrow in the morning I will
questi
be in the
secondi
car
e
and
davvero
I will have the
sfociano tutto
same
la
feeling of
percentuale
today in
che
the
sono quelle
simulator.
cose
Maybe there is a slight
minime a
percentage,
livello
a
di
slight difference
aerodinamica, a
when it comes
livello di
to
pneumatico,
aerodynamic or
però
when it
davvero
comes to the
riusciamo a
tires.
fare un lavoro che,
But
una
I
qualità
can
del
tell
lavoro che
you,
fino a qualche
I
anno
can
fa
safely
forse credo
ensure that
che non si
the two
pensasse.
experiences on the simulator and on the track are really, really identical, similar. Bear in mind that before I didn't say one thing. While we are testing here, we can also make another test on a roller bench 6 kilometers away from here. And on the roller bench, the test is the same as here, is the same as the one Andrea is carrying out. So there is a high correlation between a mathematical model inside the virtual car, and the real engine, which is which is running on the roller bench, and we can also simulate the duration on the track. So consider that up until some years ago, this was not possible. You could have checked the results only on the racetrack, but now we have made these two setups. We have changed these two setups. We are going to change again in the next hours. Then we are going to check the results, and tomorrow in the morning we are going to drive on the racetrack to make sure that that the car reacts in the proper way. So the higher the interaction is, the better the correlation is. Remember that when you go to a racetrack, you need time, you run a risk, and you also need a facility. When you go to a racetrack, you need the ambulance, you need the firefighters, and you need a range of services. And these services are no longer available after 10 p.m. On the other hand, if we are here in this simulator, it's 10 p.m., we can still hop on the simulator and do the last run.
Sì, questo è, come ricordava Federico, è il
So,
grande
as Federico
guadagno,
was saying before,
come
this is the big
ricordavamo
gain, this
a
is the
livello di
big
qualità,
advantage when
però
it
nello
comes to
stesso
quality.
un giorno di pista oggi può essere
Consider that
ottimizzato
in one
per
day on the
provare
racetrack,
tutto
you
quello
can
che al
optimize
simulatore
all your
abbiamo
work,
testato,
all your job.
selezionato in
You
10
can
giorni di
test all
lavoro.
the things
Se
you
invece
have already
vogliamo solo
tested in
una
the
giornata
previous
di
10
pista,
days in the
comunque
simulator. So you
facciamo
put
tutto
everything
insieme, il
together,
pacchetto a
you
livello
you
motore,
test everything together, both
handling,
the
setup,
setups of the
tutto quello che è
handling, the
stato
setups
selezionato qua.
of the
La fortuna
engine.
per chi guida, come ricordava
You
Federico, che
do
la
it
pista
in a
normalmente
single
alle
day
singole
on the
secche,
track after
qua
having
non cambia
tested
mai,
it
quindi
in the
però
simulator in the
ci
days
permette, a
before.
parte gli scherzi, di guadagnare
The
tanto
bad
tempo
thing
per
about the
lavorare
racetrack is that the
dopo.
facility closes at 6 o'clock. On the other hand,
Avrei una
here we can
domanda,
work
anzi
till
due.
late.
La prima è quanto
A
conta il
couple of questions
fattore
for
umano
you.
pilota
One is
adesso
about the
che
human factor.
diciamo cambia la fase
I would
di
like to know to
collaudo,
which
quindi
extent is it
in base
important now that
ai vari
the
piloti che
testing
si
phase is
alternano voi
changing.
ricevete dati
I
diversi,
imagine that
insomma,
according
e
to the different
questo
drivers,
c'era
you
anche prima
receive
con i
different
sviluppi più
data.
tradizionali, quindi
This
la domanda
happened
è
before as
cambia
well
qualcosa?
with the traditional
E
development
la
of the car.
domanda
So the question is,
correlata è
what changes?
rispetto
And
a un
the related
collaudo
question, the second
tradizionale,
one, is
diciamo così, quindi uno ha
compare
fatto magari qualche
comparing
anno
it to
fa,
a
voi
traditional
siete in grado di ricevere
test.
più dati
Are you now receiving more data
da questo sistema
thanks to
rispetto
this
a prima?
system?
Allora, Lorenzo, rispondo prima io per la
So,
parte
Lorenzo,
ingegneristica
I'm
per
going
quelli
to
che ricevono
reply
i dati. Ti
as
dico,
far as the
innanzitutto i
engineering part is
piloti, i
concerned.
driver, chiamiamoli collaudatori, che fanno
First
l'attività
of
di
all,
simulatore,
testers and
sono
drivers working
selezionati,
on the
non possono
simulator
essere tutti,
are
perché guidare un
selected. So,
simulatore è
not
comunque
everybody can
diverso dal
work
guidare una vettura
on the
reale.
simulator because driving a
Andrea
simulator is
oltretutto
different from
è
driving a
anche
real
il
car.
driver di
Apart from that,
riferimento come
Andrea is our
metodologia verso
reference
tutti gli
driver,
altri driver,
is
perché
our
Andrea ormai
focal
sono anni
point
che tra Formula 1 e
because we have
sviluppo delle
been
vetture da
working
corsa utilizza
with
questa
Andrea
tecnologia,
for
quindi ha una
several years,
sensibilità
both in F1
assolutamente di
and
riferimento.
in the development of
Inoltre,
racing cars.
quello
He
che
is very
succede con la
familiar with this
simulazione
tool,
è che
with the simulator. On top
noi
of
diciamo
that,
che abbiamo messo il driver nel loop, perché il
we
driver
have
diventa
tried to
talmente preciso e
introduce
ripetitivo
the
che
driver
diventa
inside the
simbiotico col
simulator
sistema
in the sense that
informatizzato che
the
è
driver
il simulatore.
lives in
Quindi
symbiosis with the
Andrea
simulator.
sostanzialmente fa
So Andrea
parte
is so
dell'ambiente di
familiar with the
simulazione.
simulator that he
Senza
became
Andrea o
part
un
of the
driver con le
testing
caratteristiche di Andrea
environment.
diventa difficile, perché se
Another
non cambia il
driver
riferimento, il modo di
would make
guidare tutte le
everything more
volte,
complicated
io
because
per la
actually,
montagna,
and
secondo le
another
i dati
driver
che ho, che è
has
molto più
a
elevato
different driving
rispetto a un
style. So
collaudo
standards
tradizionale
would
che si
change,
limitava a una scheda e
the
qualche
feelings would
dato
change.
dalla
And now
telemetria,
that I have
qui io ho
loads of
tutto
data, mountains of
l'ambiente
data, I
virtuale che mi dà
cannot permit, I
informazioni,
cannot
a
afford
parte
that
Andrea
change.
che
Before
continua a
I
darmi
just
delle
had to fill in
informazioni di
some
feeling.
forms. Now I
Mi dà
have
tutte le
millions
informazioni
of
numeriche
data,
e vengo
so I
qua.
cannot
Grazie, vuoi
change
aggiungere
from a
qualcosa?
Sì,
driver
è
to
proprio
another
per
because
tornare al
I'm
discorso.
already
Infatti con,
the
con
simulator is
Federico,
already used
lui è il mio
to receive
riferimento assoluto
Andrea
nel
inside of
proporre
it.
amici 20
Yes,
e ci
Federico is
confrontiamo
right, and he is
spesso,
my
però
focal point
a fine
in
giornata
as far as the
proprio lui
MC20
vuole
project is concerned.
percepire,
At the
vuole
end of every
sapere il
day,
feedback
we talk,
soggettivo
we dialogue. He
di
wants to
tutte
know
le
from
prove
me
che
the
abbiamo fatto,
feedback,
perché
the subjective
noi ci dobbiamo
feedback
sempre
of every test
ricordare,
we have carried
Federico
out.
ci ha dato degli obiettivi
we can never forget that Federico has fixed some targets, and these targets are Maserati's targets. We have to respect Maserati's DNAs in the vehicles. We have to provide handling and comfort inside the car. So every car has its own target. And we know that we have to accomplish that target in the best way possible. It is a continuous dialogue, it is a continuous feedback, a never-ending feedback. We debate all the time on the best things we can do. And the goal is to obtain the best results, the best characteristics for Maserati, for Maserati's DNA. So to have an excellent product, an extreme product. Maserati car needs to be a symbol of passion. So our contact is daily. We talk every day, like today. We talk about different options, and furthermore, you have loads of data. Thanks to this data, engineers can work better. They have more data to analyze. Obviously, things change according to the driver. The good thing is that in the past, these feelings were subjective and they just stayed there. Today, we have millions of data. Our engineers can analyze beyond the driver. So the very good quality of the job is exactly this one, the capacity, the ability of analyzing every kind of data. We need to create a product that is perfect for all, that is good for all. So our job is a teamwork, and our team leader is Federico. He is our coach, he is our boss. So we talk to him and we dialogue with him to check whether we are doing a good job or not. Well, one last question. I love cars, like you, and like all the followers of this broadcasting. Why don't you tell us something about the MC20? So, what's the drive feeling? Actually, I cannot tell you much. I will try, I will help you to understand, but I can express everything I would like to say. The only thing I can say is that every time I have the chance to hop on the MC20 is a special day. We have been in a lockdown, you know, and when Federico told me that I could have driven the MC20 again, that has been a super special day because I was coming back to this beautiful car. Actually, I can't tell you more. I can also add that this car has very, very high targets. And I think that it's a symbol of passion. It will create a lot of passion among the fans. Well, then I will say that we just have to wait some more time to see it and to test it. Why not? Thanks for your availability. We really realize that being here in the very heart of this engine restart, because by this Motor Valley Fest, we want to talk about restarting not only in the Motor Valley, but in the whole country. I think that in this place, everything can breathe excellence, can feel excellence. So thanks for having us, and I will take the chance to remind you that you can find this clip on motorvalleyfest.it and also many other videos regarding other brands of the Motor Valley. Thank you very much.